Hey, listen, I think there's been a mistake. It says this chicken sandwich here is $19.95 plus tax.
That's right, sir.
Why so much?
Well, it was inspired by some chef you've never heard of, and our guarantee that it was made less than 6 weeks ago. Would you like a dill pickle from 1956?
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood Glenn here, and I am so glad that you have arrived. Well, welcome to this week's No Vacancy show. Man, am I already having a great start to 2020, and I am so excited to be heading out to Los Angeles for this year's America's Lodging Investment Summit. We're going to take temperature of everybody in the hotel industry at the beginning of 2020. It's our first time for all of us to get together, the first time for all of us to see how we are doing. Our first major experience drinking heavily after the holiday season of drinking Mary Mary. Let's see if you guys can keep it dry through all of January. I'm suspecting maybe not, but we're going to find out at all different cocktail parties. We're going to have a really good time over there, and I am psyched because I have got video after video after video after video lined up. I'm going to be shooting a whole lot of great video interviews while we're there. Good, fun, short takes that you guys are going to find easily digestible, but highly educational. Ooh, I think I should start preaching with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. We are going to have a lot of fun at that particular conference. And I'm going to be heading on down to Anaheim for a special hotel opening for the good folks over at Choice Hotels. That should be a lot of fun. So look out for my video report there. And speaking of brand new hotels, man, did I have a great time at the Extended Stay America in Gibsonton, Tampa last week. Gibsonton's just outside Tampa. You know what I meant by that. Don't give me a hard time. Don't give me a hard time. All right, so I really hope you got to see the first of those videos in the series, and that was so much fun. Today we're going to be going behind the scenes, but before I tell you about that, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to talk to you about my good friends over at Almo Hospitality. I love these people. They are such good human beings, and we all need a little bit of love right now, don't we? Right? There's a lot of anger that's going on out there, a lot of difficulties, a lot of friction. That's why I really love working with good people, and these are good people that work with you to deliver industry-leading brands and distinctive new-to-market stuff and all of the things that your hotel needs, not only to satisfy guests, but to exceed their expectations, right? While saving you hassle and money and time. You guys need to be out there doing your jobs, right? You need to be running your hotels. You need to be thinking about your next investments. You need to be thinking about how to be more profitable. You don't need to be spending your time when Almo could be doing it for you. So please reach out to my friends over at Almo Hospitality. Find them at hospitality.almorepoyav.com. Get all the stuff that you need from companies like Samsung, from companies like Nonstop, from companies like Cirque Plus, like Outdoor Furniture from Cape Soleil. I could go on, but you don't want to hear me go on. You want to hear what's coming up next. And what is coming up next is a great interview with Matthew Humphreys. He's the GM over at the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. And I'm stoked about this guy because he found a way to take space that was not making any money and turn them into some real fresh suites that people are paying a premium for. How cool is that, right? I mean, sure, not every hotel is going to be able to do this, but this is an older hotel that was built with a different business model, and you know what? There was this extra space there. So we're going to talk about the evolution of that project, but before we go to that interview, I want to be sure that you guys are subscribing to our podcast. I really do appreciate all the love that you've been giving me. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the No Vacancy podcast or our sister shows, the Hotel Design Podcast, where I talk to a lot of the leading hotel industry designers. And of course, we can't forget checking in with Anthony and Glenn. No, we cannot, because coming out this week, finally, my interview with my travel icon, Samantha Brown. That is correct. I said it right, Samantha Brown. I'm so excited that I got to do this interview with her alongside my podcasting partner, Anthony Melcuri. It's truly delightful, truly so much fun. If you didn't catch last week's show that we did with John Russell, industry icon, now he's over there as interim CEO CEO of RLH Corporation. I highly suggest that you check that one out too. Man, I love doing that show with Anthony. We are having so much fun. And the cool thing about working with him is he thinks about the hotel industry in a little bit different way than I do. So he asks a lot of these questions that would never have come into my mind, and it really yields a lot of great, fun conversation. All right, so we got Matthew Humphreys coming up after this. And I also mentioned after the commercial break, we got a great interview on the new prototype for Extended Stay America. And what I like about this interview is we have a whole slew of people on there, and we're going to talk about how you go ahead and you design something, and then how that aligns with the construction process, and how that aligns with the goals of the operation. Plus, I got to stay in a brand new hotel for a couple of days. And who doesn't like that, right? All right, so I want to thank you guys again. Remember this, you've got one life. Blaze on. Enjoy the show. All right, so we got on the line Mr. Matt Humphreys, and he's the GM of the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. Happens to be one of my favorite cities, in a city I don't get to enough, and I blame all of you hoteliers out there because you're not booking enough events for me to go to there. I think the last time I was there in San Francisco was like 4 or 5 years ago for an event, although I did get to go to Silicon Valley last year. Not the same thing. And now that Matt has heard me complain, let's bring on Matt Humphreys, the GM of the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. Hey, man.
How are you doing? Hey, now, look, I want a list of all of these meetings that you're attending that are not coming to my city.
I know.
We will take a look and see if we can get you in here.
I know. Highly offensive, Matt. I agree with you. I'm blown away.
I think it's time for you to, look, we have this now. We have this personal connection. Let's make this happen. I am always happy to book business into my hotel.
All right. I love it. Absolutely. And speaking of hotels, Hyatt Regency San Francisco, really cool, great property. And, Hyatt is one of those companies that have really come into their own since Mark Hoplamazian came on board. I don't even remember how many years ago it is, probably 7 or 8, but I'm getting old. I can't remember timelines anymore, but so many things have changed. And as so many things have changed, so has the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. So you've been there for what, 3 years or so?
That's right. 3 years. 3 years ago in a month.
Yeah. How did you find your way to the Hyatt Regency San Francisco? Where were you prior to that? How'd that all work out?
I'm actually 25 years with Hyatt.
Wow.
I actually will pass my 25th year here in just 2 weeks. Very excited to be with the company. Are you excited
that your career can now rent a car?
Yes, right. I truly, I started off as a graveyard bellman. At the Park Hyatt in Beaver Creek.
Awesome.
And I did that to be a ski bum. I took a year off college and wanted to ski every day. So I found a job I could work in the middle of the night.
Right.
And as soon as work was over, I jumped on the slopes and skied all day and then went back to sleep and started work again. And just felt like, this is the company for me. Went back to my senior year of college already with a job offer in hand. And, started 6 days after I graduated, I went to UNLV in Las Vegas.
Right.
And moved from Las Vegas all the way to Greenville, South Carolina to begin my career.
Wow.
I bounced around the whole country. I lived in Southern California for much of my career, but lived on Kauai for 5 years.
How'd you leave that, dude?
Oh, it took the Hawaii National Guard to pull me off. And truly what it was I met the woman of my dreams.
Right.
I married her. She worked here in San Francisco. And she came out and lived with me for a year, but was ready to get back into the city and into life here. And so
I totally get it.
Followed her.
I like to talk big game there, Matt, but I don't think I can handle living in Hawaii on a permanent basis. I'm a New York guy. I'm always going to be a New York guy, and I know from someone who lives in San Francisco, you can certainly relate to that, right?
Yeah, I actually had a point at which in my career they asked me if I was interested to go from Kauai to New York, and I had only visited New York once and thought, man, I don't know if somebody can move from the Isle of Kauai to New York. I think that was probably just too big of a stretch. San Francisco was stressing enough, and I don't know if I could have done New York.
Yeah. So before we get into what I really wanted to talk to you about today, how's business in San Francisco? What's going on? The Moscone Center really recently reopened, I should say, and it feels to me that that's probably been a great injection that your town needed.
Absolutely. There was the big part about the Moscone Center was it just really wasn't set up to, as groups grew and built out. Right. It wasn't set up to really handle the exhibit space.
Javits Center, New York, right?
And those exhibitors really paid for a lot of the meetings. And so they really spent 2 years really transforming the space. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. And there's 3 buildings, and they've now been able to interconnect the buildings in a sort of a fun way to make it easy to use. And having it back, this is the first year it's back. And it was, it wasn't the year everyone hoped it would be.
Right.
We were supposed to, do triple what the average was for RevPAR growth in North America, but we still did pretty darn good.
Right.
And so pretty happy with the year, how it turned out, and looking forward to some good years going forward. It's, this is a great city, and it's an amazing place to be, an amazing place to have events and groups come in. So we're very, very fortunate to get to work and live in this amazing city.
Yeah, you sure are. And to be general manager of a really cool hotel like the Hyatt Regency San Francisco. Now, as we said, Matt's been there for about 3 years. But what's really interesting, the story we wanted to tell today is a little bit about finding gold within your walls already. And in Matt's case, that means finding some space that existed and turning them into rooms. But Matt, I don't want to step on your toes. I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't want to keep saying all of these phrases that don't really mean anything. How about you tell this story about what it was like for you discovering these places and how that whole thing came down?
Yeah, so we're a hotel. We run very high occupancy for the year. Mm-hmm. We run close to 90% in occupancy every year, and so having in many hotels, I think national average is in the 70s.
Right.
So
that's higher than it's been historically.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, the industry has been going gangbusters. So just to put in percentage with some of you folks out there that may not understand that, 90% is insane. That's up there with Las Vegas numbers and Disney World Resort numbers, right? So please continue.
And New York.
Yeah.
And yours, beautiful, wonderful New York.
Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, we're just awesome over here, rocking it on the East,
All right.
Sorry, I got to put on my Brooklyn talk when we're talking about New York and stuff.
So I can tell you that really when I walked the hotel, one of those things you look for in any opportunity, from just how do you really grow a hotel? How do you make really not just sort of exponential growth, but to really drive, opportunity. And, more guest rooms is a great opportunity on many fronts. It not only opens up the ability to have more rooms to sell, also gives more hours to the people who are working. Someone's got to clean those rooms. People have to check them in. People have to bring bags and luggage up to them.
Right.
We feed them in the restaurant. And so these opportunities are not just about how do you put more revenue in your building. And by adding more keys, the value of the building goes up for the ownership. I mean, it's a win-win-win on all sides because staff win, owners win, and customers win because it is a tough city to get into.
Right.
And we don't have a lot of growth in this city from a hotel side. So every time that we can add some more rooms, we just add more opportunity.
Right. All right. So where the heck do you find enough space for 15 new rooms that offer some of the best views of the Bay Area? That seems like an insane oversight from the people that originally constructed the hotel.
No,
space.
Please. Yeah, let's not. I've been very fortunate, and I think we're very lucky in the sense that following some great people who knocked some of the stuff that's hard at most hotels out, and have got a staff that really works a great way. That I was able to start looking for things because it wasn't picking up all the low-hanging fruit in the building.
Right.
But the building, how it is the building kind of shaped like a big triangle.
Right.
With 3 points. And so one point to this triangle goes directly out onto the bay, right over the iconic ferry building. If it's something you don't know San Francisco, just Google ferry building.
Right.
It's gorgeous. Right over the bay, over Treasure Island. The Bay Bridge is lit at night. It's done with over 1 million LED lights to really make sort of an art show of a bridge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's incredible. Yes. And so we have at the end of the point, at that point, where the point facing that direction was just sort of a picture window on the hallway as you sort of turned around the corner of the triangle. And I looked at it, and there's sort of a big open space there. And I just thought, I wonder, was it big enough? It seemed like something that, had a good size room, maybe not a massive room by any sense.
Well, let me throw one in your corner. It doesn't have to be enormous because we're seeing travel trends now. People aren't really worried about the same size room as they used to be because they're trading space for more opportunities and experiences downstairs and outside the property.
Absolutely. And, you look at, New York is really, I think, the leader in this of finding, use opportunity in the building.
Yeah, I think roof bars, which have transformed the New York hospitality
Absolutely. Scene. Yeah, here too. That is becoming a very big thing here locally. And And so we looked at this, and I brought it up to the owner's attention and just said, hey, I think there's an opportunity we're missing here, where not only can we add rooms, but look at the view these rooms are going to have.
Right.
And it is something, as people walked around, you'd see people kind of sort of hesitate and look at the view. And we do have, because we're a triangle, we have views from, probably 2/3 of the building, or close to that. And so, there's a lot of great views, but this is the one that's really the point at the end, facing directly out. And so we looked at seeing, could we do this? And our ownership employed a great, architectural firm to take a look, and we were able to build a 180 square foot room.
Cool.
And so a typical room at our hotel is about 300 square feet.
Right.
So 180 square feet. Now that to me I thought, oh, wow, okay, that's kind of small. What are we going to, what's that going to feel like? But it's going to have the view that you can't get anywhere else in this city.
Right.
And so we looked at it. One of the things we talked about, what kind of bed would we put in that room? Are we just putting in one double bed because it's going to be small? And as we laid this out, we actually literally went and took, duct tape or painter's tape on the floor and tried to lay out the schematic just to get a feel for what it would be like.
Yeah.
And we went in and just said, okay, let's tape off what a mattress would feel like here. And we just started with the double, went to the queen, and went, we can do a king size bed in here. Why wouldn't we? And so it's, the hotel, if you're a traveler like me, who, when I go into a room, I'm going to sit on the bed, flip open the laptop, and I'm going to do my work from the bed.
Right.
And now we have a desk in there, big 65-inch TV.
Good. That's more my speed.
Yeah, exactly. And, webcasting into it and all of this that makes a great room. But really what the major selling point is a floor to ceiling window.
Wow.
That goes right outside of the bay. The view is just incredible. I had the opportunity, of course, when we were finishing these things up, as a general manager, you do want to sort of sleep in a room and say, what are we missing? What do we do right? What can we maybe make some tweaks before we start to sell this room?
Right.
And
Sure. We all believe that's why.
Yes, right. I'm trying to make sure I do the best thing for our customers. It's not to get a free night in San Francisco.
Right. I always tell people I'm a man of sacrifice. If I have to do all this job, I'll do it.
Exactly. And it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. So I stayed in the room, and I just actually recently did again, thinking, when we got some feedback from some of our early customers and wanted to see something. But that idea of just, leaving the blinds open and waking up from the minute like the sun starts to crest over. Because what's great is this view looks east. Right. So sun rising from the east over the Oakland Hills, over the San Francisco Bay, you're literally watching a sunrise from bed in the morning. Wow. And if you're somebody whose city lights and those things bother you, you can lay in there with those drapes closed. And when you wake up, you can just say, Alexa, open the drapes.
Right.
And we've got the voice technology inside the room where the drapes just magically open while you lay in bed and the sunrise appears.
That's beautiful. So you were able to find some extra space on other floors as well to create additional rooms. Why was that space available in the building? What was its original purpose?
Yeah, I think it was just the corner, right? So it's just the edge of that point. And because of the way that just structurally the building works, there wasn't, the rooms are sort of on the outside of this hallway. And because it was a corner, there was just sort of a big open walkway space. There was just part of the hallway.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It was just sort of an open space at the point.
One of those spaces that it's like too much space, feels a little too large. And that probably led you into saying, oh, we could probably do something that's going to generate income instead of just higher heating bills.
Exactly. And, and knowing what I was going to get with the view is really what made this be something that I thought we really have to take advantage. If it was somewhere else in the building, I don't know that it would have jumped out to me as much.
Right.
Because you knew what you were getting with the space.
But you're also talking about not only building some new rooms, but creating rooms that are probably high in demand because of the views that you're able to offer and giving your customers something that they didn't have before, which is really the whole thesis of this idea that we're talking about today.
And truly, I think my biggest fear in doing it was that, the size of the room might turn somebody off. And until they were physically built and you could walk in there and have the bed in there and know what it was going to feel like and be able to walk and say, actually, it feels fine. I don't know that I would even question that this was a small room if I didn't know that it was going to be a small room. I don't know that it would stand out to me
Right.
as like, wow, it must be small. Because ultimately, what I'm looking at is that view when you walk in, and that really just opens up the whole space.
Right. And the other thing I'd add, Matt, and I'm just taking a gross assumption here, smack me down if I'm wrong, but it was probably cleverly designed in such a way that it doesn't feel small. The guests are still able to utilize this space in the way that they would with a larger footprint, but have all that bonus, those bonus views instead.
Absolutely. And I think really, that this is where you can, not only from, an architectural firm who really knows what they're doing and access architecture, but having, a designer who comes in and says, okay, let's not, muck this place up with a bunch of furniture. Let's not, mess this setup where we're taking space away from the customer in a smaller room.
Right.
They designed a desk space for you to work. It's, it is not a furniture piece. It is sort of a shelf coming from a wall. There's a dual use for the safe is also a seating area where you can put your luggage on. Really trying to find that sort of San Francisco. Maybe some people in New York might think that's part of their world too. You're getting that modular world of saying, hey, things need to have dual uses.
Right.
And I think that was really well done and really thoughtfully designed for the room to where you felt like this is set up for everything I need, but there's no wasted space in here.
And that is the key phrase right there. No wasted space. How many hotel rooms, and I'm talking to you guys listening out there, how many hotel rooms have you been into that you've looked at and say, why is this space seem too weird? Why is it too large? Why is there a giant potted plant in the corner trying to hide the fact that there's a corner that wasn't used properly? So, I think that's interesting, Matt, because what it really is doing is underscoring the whole notion of that you need to always be thinking. You always need to be looking for new opportunities in your hotel. And most importantly, you need to really evaluate everything from top to bottom. Try to figure out a way to look at it with fresh eyes out there, because you might just have opportunity right under your nose, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's, when you really walk through and try to decide what you want to do with a hotel or what you want to do, it's, we spend so much time looking at not about the service we're delivering or the design or the look. What's the artwork like? What's the carpet like? And not looking to say, hey, are we really utilizing our building in the way it should be utilized? And, when this first happened, I think one of the questions I got from some of our frequent stay customers is, why are you taking away my view? I love walking with the view. And I said, I'm not taking it away.
Yeah.
That could be your room. I'm going to make sure it's going to be very clear. We're selling these 15 rooms called water view rooms, and you can book them right on our website. So book that room. It's going to be yours to wake up to in the morning.
Right.
And, everyone that I say they're being built, I walked someone through it, and every one of them said, oh yeah, I'm staying. I want to be the first one in this room.
Right. Totally, man. Because it seems like much better idea than standing in the hallway going, oh, that's a nice view. I think of Clark Griswold in Vacation at the Grand Canyon. Yep. And then moving on, right?
Right.
You don't have to do that anymore.
Exactly. No, we've created Wally World right inside the building. So we're very fortunate in that sense. I mean, and what I love is when, I was worried that, was a customer going to feel slighted by the size of the room? And our most frequent stay customers, and I have great relationships with so many of them, they're asking for the rooms.
Right.
And these are people who, you stay all the time. This is the guy who's being upgraded on his flight. This is the lady who doesn't wait, at any check-in counter. She can bypass all of that. They're looking for suites often. They're looking for those upgrades that they can feel that we're honoring the level of business they're giving them. And they're asking me, can I have the little room in the corner? Because I love laying in bed and waking up to that. Right. I love laying at night. I mean, I had a chat with one of our top 10 customers just about 2 weeks ago who said, I don't even turn on the TV. I just stare out the window at night. Right. Like, it's that oasis in the middle of the crazy city where you really can sit back and just enjoy.
I like it. So my message to all the hoteliers out there is be creative. Rethink absolutely everything. Nothing should be sacrosanct, especially right now. We're in this period of time where it's getting much, much harder to push those rates. So you got to be clever. Find out ways to earn more money. And by taking a great look at every single element in your hotel and figuring out new uses, ways to create profitability out of nothing, just like Matt Humphreys has done over at the Hyatt Regency San Francisco, I think you're going to have a lot of success. Matt, Matt, before we wrap up today, and before I give you a chance to plug your hotel one more time, is there anything else that's going on at the property level that you want to share with our audience right now?
Well, I'll tell you, I think you hit it on the head first here, was saying that, people who have wanted to get into San Francisco and might not think that we're available to you, please reach out. Like, hey, look, we're, sometimes, yes, we're going to, tell you, hey, we can't do this time, but let's look at this time. It's a great city to be in. My hotel is in the perfect place. We're not in the middle of the city. We're out on the water's edge. We're in the financial district. All the best restaurants in town are within walking distance. All of the the commuting that you can do, whether it's BART, whether it's Muni, whether it's cable cars, they're all right outside my hotel. I mean, we really make this as sort of a hub for the city where you're on the edge and you can be able to look back at the city and not be in the middle of the craziness side of it. Come reach out to us. I'm telling you, you're going to love staying here. Oh, we have a Regency Club. One last plug. I know you want to jump in and interrupt me, but one last plug.
I can't help it, man. That's my thing.
When you come in here, make sure you book our Regency Club. We used to have a revolving restaurant on the roof of the hotel. And it just was, in today's markets, and it just couldn't make money. And so we turned this into a club lounge, and you can buy into it. And the view from there, it's a 360-degree, restaurant. And you can see all of the best, from the city view right back out all the way across the bay view. There's a continental breakfast with some hot items still too in the morning. There's hors d'oeuvres and drinks at night and desserts. It is a great place to be able to just relax and be able to see the city and get a little food while you're here. So
awesome.
That's an upgrade I absolutely recommend.
And the interruption that I was going to make was ask you to tell me how much meeting space you have.
72,000 square feet.
Wow, it's pretty considerable.
Yeah, we're a great group hotel. We got a great, beautiful ballroom. We've got a big atrium lobby. We actually have, and let's not make sure that the No Vacancy podcast is sending this out to Dubai, because we're in the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest atrium hotel lobby in the world.
What?
And I don't want some Dubai listener.
My friends at the Marriott Marquis are feeling shame right now.
Right, exactly. And, that open space, we actually serve lunch often throughout the week in that open space.
Right.
Which really, it's almost like you're going outside while you're inside, all the natural light coming in. We're a wonderful hotel. We have great people who work here. So forth, and you'll want to come back over and over again. And we are absolutely open to groups. Give us a call.
Nice, I love it.
Watch your business,
man. You are really putting the shameless in the shameless plug, which I like, and I give every single one of my guests a chance to do. But talking about all of this gets me real excited, because this is one of those real super old school buildings. My guess is from the 80s, early 80s, late 70s or something.
Late 70s. So built and opened in 73, 72.
All right, so early 70s.
Yeah.
Right.
It's but it's our ownership here really redid the whole lobby in 2015. It's got iconic classic San Francisco meets sort of hip, lively, San Francisco. It's a hotbed for all things.
Yeah, Matt, you don't have to defend the age of your hotel, because they just don't build hotels like that anymore. You're never going to see massive, giant atriums built in the United States like that anymore, because you're losing out on all of that valuable real estate that you could put more guest rooms or other cash-generating things. So you've got a real gem there. I love that you were able to find some more money. If you guys are in San Francisco, go check out the Hyatt Regency San Francisco and say hello to Matt Humphreys. Matt, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
I want to thank everyone else for being here today, and we'll be right back after this commercial break with another fantastic interview on the No Vacancy podcast, although I don't know if it's going to be better than this one. This one is a whole lot of fun. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. And listen, for nearly 50 years, that's incredible, nearly 50 years, Red Roof has been proven that value and quality can exist on the same piece of real estate. And that's true across every Red Roof offering. Right off the bat, Red Roof Inn can boast some of the highest RevPARs in its segment and has been #1 in online reviews 9 years running. While Red Roof Plus is the brand extension that created the upscale economy market and is having a dramatic impact on owners' financial results. And I know this, guys. I've interviewed some of these owners and they love this product. Then, of course, there's Red Collection, a group of upper mid-scale, unique city-centric hotels inspired by each area's vibe and cultures. You know how essential that is, right? And it is going to help franchisees with the opportunity to affordably invest in new markets. And for those looking to get into the explosively fast growing extended stay market, you know, that trend that I keep talking about for the last few years, why aren't you in on it yet? Well, get in on it now, because you've got Hometown Studios and the chance to gain all the perks of doing business with Red Roof. In fact, from upscale economy to extended stay to city-centric in 2020, you can't afford to ignore Red Roof. Get that ball rolling and call Matt Hostetler. He's Red Roof Senior VP of Development and Franchising. You know that. You see him at all the shows. You see him absolutely everywhere. He's a guy you want to do business with. Give him a ring at 713-576-7426 or email him at mhostetler@redroof.com. That's MHOSTETLER at redroof.com. Happy 2020, everyone. Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here. I'm excited because we got another great podcast, and I'm coming at you from Gibsonton, Florida. Yeah, I'm south of Tampa today because I wanted to check out the brand new prototype from Extended Stay America, because they've recently gotten into franchising over the last couple of years, but right now I feel as if they're really making their big foray forward and giving the developers out there something to get excited about, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And I've got a whole cadre of guests here today, starting with Miss Amy Hollis, who runs design over here, then Philip Lee, he's the Director of Construction, and Jim Alderman, the Chief Development Officer, and Paul Fraser, the VP of Construction. So how you guys doing today? Congratulations.
Good. Thanks, doing great.
Yeah, this is great because I've never had so many people on at once, and I think the natural place to start is, Jim, let's talk about the need for this particular product and what it's going to be able for you to accomplish with it.
Great. Well, the need for this product, Glenn, was really driven by the fact that we hadn't built anything new in 12 years.
Right.
So with a portfolio with a average age and let's just say we're an old teenager, as far as our average age, we needed to get some new blood in the system, and to start the franchise program and get some people building the new franchises, we needed to show them what it was first. And so, you know, we had a great team at ESA when I came, and this team is what we went forward with. We didn't need any new people. We had a terrific group already there, and putting them together with the idea of growing this company. We've got 14 under construction now, Paul?
Yes.
Wow.
Let's do it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's 12.
Yeah,
Well,
we
right.
we opened.
Yeah, it's coming so fast. So, yeah, I should say we're all down here for a great big grand opening celebration to really get to touch and feel and experience what this particular property was like. But, Jim, so you can now go out to market with a brand new product that I'm going to guess you feel really touches the consumer zeitgeist there.
We do. It's this particular room type you're in right here is a special one with a split wall between the beds. In this product category, as you know, Glenn, in the mid-price and the economy end of the extended stay, you often have a lot of people who share rooms who aren't related. It's required by companies, and so we've given them a little bit of privacy so they can not have to wake up in the morning and roll to the left and go, oh, hi, Steve.
Yeah, whoever stays with me appreciates that. All right, so let's go to you. Amy, I want to ask you what it was like. Did you get a blank slate? How does this process begin with you, and then at what point does the construction team join you?
We started this process about 3 years ago.
Right.
We had a committee of folks on our senior leadership team and talked to a lot of architects about what we really wanted to accomplish. And we went through a big design effort, and then we went through an even larger value engineering effort to get to the place we are now. So we took a lot of the original ideas and value engineered them to fit what we needed to operate these hotels efficiently.
All right. So how much do you work in concert with the franchising team in order to start to develop this project?
Well, we've got one under construction right now with the franchise community, and we've got a pipeline of about 26 right now. So as they come online, we start to talk to them very early on in the process and give them a list of all the products that we put into the hotels and work closely with them to figure out what's going to work for them.
Right. So how does that work? Because you've got this brand new prototype that you needed to create from the ground up. What is it that you think people staying in these hotels are really looking for? And then how did you design towards that desire to satisfy that consumer ethos?
Well, the kitchens have always been a big part of the Extended Stay America brand. So we had to start there with the kitchens and then the bathrooms and then again the bed mix. So depending on what market we're in, your bed types and your mix changes per property and per market. So we work with the franchisees to give them our prototype plan, and then they can tweak that to fit their needs for their market.
Right. That's pretty cool. What about, construction? I don't know, Philip, do we want to go with you first or Paul? All right. Philip's pointing at you, Paul. So we're going to, all right, time for you to go under the gauntlet there, Paul. So obviously you need to work with design. At what point do you come into that process where you start to share what your thoughts are on how it should go in order to satisfy her design desires while also making sure it doesn't cost too much and appeals to the franchise community want to spend that money?
Good question. I think if you know anything about extended stay, we have
I do.
Very small team, so we're very efficient in our work efforts. So I think every one of us, the 3-4 of us here, all have direct input on various stages, including design and construction. So very well balanced team that knows what they're doing. And again, we've been operating these hotels for many years, so we have a lot of experience.
Right.
And I think that's really been the key driver for the design. Is the takeaways we've learned from not only from the guests, but from an operating perspective.
Right.
And what works well for both and what doesn't work well. So we're able to take all of that information and factor it into what will we do when we start from a brand new slate. And this has finally come to fruition. And as Amy mentioned, it's been a 2 to 3 year process where we've scrutinized just about everything,
right,
any way you can scrutinize it. And so I think it's been a very fun process, and we're very excited to take this new step.
Right. Well, I've been here now for a good 3 hours, so I'm going to claim I'm an expert on everything with this hotel. So the first thing I noticed is very contemporary, a lot of solid surfaces, and that to me says probably easier to clean in a little quicker of a manner. So you are when you're designing there, Amy, are thinking about the long-term operational costs as you're designing, right?
Everything that we put into this hotel, we've done it with a lot of thought as to how it's going to operate, and our facility managers, how they're going to be able to maintain the properties. So every piece of what we've done, from the lamps to the paint to the flooring, every finish that we've put in the hotels, we've thought long and hard about how long they're going to live, and how easily they'll be able to be cared for, and how difficult our guests are on the products too. So,
right,
for instance, we have quartz countertops in our kitchens and our baths. They take a lot of abuse, so we decided to go with something that was a little stronger than a plastic laminate and see how that works out. Mm-hmm. So things like that factor in. The three of us have a lot of experience on the renovation side. We worked together for a number of years before we started the new build process. And as part of that, we were able to see into the rooms of occupied rooms to see how people really use the spaces. And that gave us a lot of information as to what we were going to do to modernize the brand.
Right. And one thing that you did modernize, the lobby is generous in size, I think. And one of the things I noticed is this gorgeous brick wall. When you knock on it, hey, not a brick wall, and it looks great. Is my point, while also probably lowering those construction costs considerably. So my guess is, in the last number of years, you've got all of these new materials and finishes and stuff that are coming out that makes it more fun to do your job and bring that design budget a little bit further.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Yeah, that's a veneer wall, and I think part of one of the bigger things that we looked at was especially our flooring. We took the carpet out of all the rooms and decided to go with this LVT flooring that has a nice wear layer on it. So it will last a long time. It's easy to install. It's easy to clean. And it's got a modern look that will go with just about any finish that we put in the rooms. If we need to change it out later, it's pretty flexible.
And what I really love about LVT is, the L for luxury really makes sense because it looks really like wood at this point. The technology's gotten so great with that. I want to bring you into the conversation, Phil, because you had to build this thing. So bring the microphone over, and while you're sliding that over, let's ask Jim. So how are you feeling about being here with the brand new prototype opening? It's finally done after 3 years.
It's finally done, and what I'm happy about, to build a little bit upon what Amy said, is this team, and it's a really small team. Before I got there, these three marvelous individuals, really, they had 7 years of renovating close to 700 hotels and $1 billion budget. And what they were able to do is ESA is made up of about 23 different brands and 1,100 different room types.
Whoa.
So Amy has books of all over one brand.
Oh, you poor thing, Amy.
Books and books and books of pictures of what can and does go wrong.
Right.
Through guest use. And as you understand, because we go for a longer length of stay, and when you have a long length of stay, we clean the room once a week. A lot of wear happens in these rooms because we run close to 80% system wide.
Yeah, I might have heard. I mean, you guys just opened and you're already running at something like 77% right now. That's insane.
Yeah, we're fully booked tonight. We're running at close to 80% in this hotel.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool, and really a great testament to you guys being able to find great markets with a great pool of potential people to stay here, and of course delivering a great product. All right, time for you, Philip. You got to build this thing, right? So how long does it take to construct one of these things from ground up?
It takes about a year to build one, and it's 100% wood construction. We've designed it in a way so that it can be built efficiently with local crews, and in 1 year is enough time to build one of our hotels.
Wow, that's a pretty quick turnaround. So, Jim, that's something that's probably going to make owners happy. No longer is 18 months, 2 years, that sort of thing.
It does. It's an efficient design, and what we've done is bring down. There's really only so many places you can save money. I mean, drywall is drywall, concrete is concrete, and wood framing is wood framing. So you have to reduce the size of it, and so Paul and Amy and Philip were able to take about 20% of the overall square footage out and bring the cost down by about 20%. And that really allows this to happen fairly quickly. Paul, overall square footage is about 50,000, 52.5, something like that?
Yeah, well, for our V2 prototype, it's about 40,000 square feet for this hotel.
Wow, that's pretty cool. You could fit 3 of these on the casino floor at MGM Grand. Yeah. All right. So in regards to that, taking 20% out. So what is that process like to find those efficiencies to make sure that you're not building space that's not going to be returning that investment?
Well, I think that was a decision, by our CEO and our leadership team at the time that really recognized who we are and what we are to our customer. And I think the original design had a lot of input that really didn't factor those equations into the overall output. So it was a great decision for us to put that 20% reduction into the cost and force us to come up with a new, revitalized product that would meet the needs of our guests and meet their cost, their cost budget. So it's not an easy task. And I think at the time we had just completed our first V1 prototype and we were ready to roll. And we get this change of directive to cut 20% out of our building. So that's almost like eliminating the 4th floor of this hotel.
Right.
And still building.
But there is a 4th floor in this hotel, in case anyone wants to know. I saw pizza getting delivered up there, and I was a little bit jealous.
That's right. So it was very fun. It was challenging, to say the least. But just seeing it and it actually come to fruition and end up almost exactly where we had budgeted is pretty remarkable, and it's just a testament to this team and their knowledge and desire to get it completed.
So Philip, you got it. It's your job to get that thing completed. So what's it like being on site every day and seeing that progress happen and solving problems in the moment? Because when you get a new prototype, that's just the way things go.
Yeah, it's constantly improving. The prototype is going through the initial design and finding the little tweaks to make sure that we can make the constructability of the hotel something that we can replicate over and over again without having to make major modifications. So that's the main thing is just making it efficient for us to build, to replicate in other locations with the same design. So
what are the keys to creating those efficiencies? I don't know much about construction, but I know that sounds important.
All right. One is to make sure that you've got the code, that your design is broad enough that it's not to a specific area.
So you're saying you can meet California codes here in Florida. Right. Yeah.
We do have water protection features where we are, low water efficiency in our hotel.
Well, also, Paul, that just makes good economic sense, and it's great for more conscious travelers as well.
Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So please continue, Philip.
No, exactly. Just the water. All of our faucets meet the California code. Mm-hmm. Our lighting, same thing, because we are using these products in our California hotels. So, in addition to some of those products. The design itself incorporated additional space where we can store products underneath the beds. We have enough space to for our guests, long-term guests, bring a lot of luggage, and we wanted to make sure that the room had enough space that it didn't look cluttered once somebody moves in.
Right. I was amazed by how many washing machines you guys have here. There was like 6 of them. So you're planning for people to be here for a long time. So Jim, what's the average length of stay that you're thinking about here?
Average length of stay here, we're shooting for close to 30 days.
Wow.
And we have those laundry machines and the vending machines because
I love the vending machines, by the way. There are 3 of them, and they're gorgeous, and they take stuff that you just scan, credit cards, cash. I think they take everything. It's awesome.
Yeah,
gold bullion
to take the room key. That's
excellent. Right.
Is for them to be able to take the room key, which I think actually, sometimes you may not have a credit card on you, or you may not.
Right.
You may not. Sometimes if you swipe a room key, you may not think about the Coke costing $2.
Oh, I know. I think that's you're picking that up from the casino business. I think right there, right? That makes a whole lot of sense. All right, so let me ask you this then, Jim. When you got to go out there and sell this, what are some of the things that you want to tell the development community? My guess is, how many full-time employees it might need or not need. I'm already excited by the idea of the extended stay market. And anyone who's listening to this program or knows I've been talking about this for years and years and years because it's so powerful. You only need to get 1 guest for a room for the month instead of 10 guests if they're staying 3 days. How cool is that? So what are you looking at in terms of operational costs and full-time employees and that kind of thing?
So the number of total employees in the property is only 15.
All right. Right.
FTEs is probably in the area of about 9.
Wow, that's great.
And you compare it with 124 rooms. If you compare that to a competitive brand that may have a shorter length of stay, they're going to have 24, 27 employees in total. And it's that, and the ability to take the long-term guests allows you to plan out your housekeeping much more efficiently, and really have to only clean the rooms on the turn or once a week. And so that's the primary thing we're selling is the operating model, but also the efficiency that this team has spent the time building. It's the reduced square footage and the fact that we now have several different plans that have been iterations from this V2 prototype where we've got the straight line building. I was just down in Port Charlotte where we're close to opening. We're going to open in March, where it's a building that's got a slight L to it. We have a building that's kind of a C or a reverse C, I guess. And then to be able to present those plans to them and say, look, these are done. You just need to get your architect to stamp them. Now, if you want to take a floor off, if you want to do something small, you want to go up. It's a different story because, as you know, wood framing generally is in the 4-story limit.
Yep.
You can potentially go higher. We don't like to, but it's all about the repeatability of this. And with so many under construction at one time, and using a number of different contractors, and we've got some wonderful crews of contractors we've used over and over again. This contractor who built this is also building a property for us in Pooler, Georgia. And part of the reason of really concentrating in this area is the Southeast is, the hottest, fastest growing part of the country. And when Extended Stay America was developing, we have a number of hotels. We already have 8 in the Tampa Bay area. And this being our 9th down here, we continue to build out down the west coast of Florida. So that was the important reason really to have this here as kind of a beacon. There's so many owners, as you know, Glenn, in Florida. It's very easy for them to come to see, and a number of them are coming tomorrow night. A number of franchisees we've signed up and potential franchisees are here to take a look and see the wonderful work that this team's done. Because believe me, it was all them, not me.
Right. So, Paul, I was going to ask you whether or not the prototype was sizable. Jim definitely covered that. So then let me ask you instead. So what all these people are coming down to look at it? Are you nervous? Are you excited? What does that make you feel like?
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
everything. I think it's we're wanting to make sure everything works. That we have hot water. Everything. This is the first true test that we're going through. So that's the truth. But we're excited. We're confident it's going to work out, and we'll find the solutions for any issues that pop up. So.
Cool. So Amy, let me bring this back to you. If you could take the microphone back there real quick. Okay. So you're trying to design to make people feel like they have a lot of space and are comfortable in that space, in particular if they're sharing that room with someone for their coworker. But you also don't want the rooms to be too large because that'll make the construction costs soar. So how do you find that balance of what the guest really needs as opposed to what guests may claim they want on surveys?
A lot of that comes from, again, the renovation experience.
Right.
We did have an Extended Stay America prototype years ago. So we went back to that and looked at it and tried to tweak it as much as we could and then apply what we learned during the renovation process to figure out what was working and what wasn't. So things like taking the doors off the kitchen cabinetry, the uppers, because what we found is that people typically, if they stay with us for a long period of time, if they put things in cabinets, they forget about it.
Right.
So they stop putting things in the cabinets.
That's such a great observation and something I've lived through.
A lot of folks that bring a lot of material
Right.
with them, a lot of Rubbermaid bins, and they stack them in corners. So we wanted a good balance of storage space in the room without confining them to a box that we gave them to shove something into. So you'll see a lot of the open shelving concepts here. And then blackout shades we added instead of drapery.
I like that.
We have a lot of requests for blackout.
Thank you.
It's a roller shade.
Yeah, because I like that. It really does keep the light out, and I'm on the first floor, so I closed mine, right? And it really keeps the light out. And good air conditioning, by the way, over here, which is essential in Florida.
Design change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about how coming up with all the ideas. It's almost, I envision it's sort of like a kid with a brand new box of crayons. I mean, it's exciting. We took all of his history and knowledge, and now it's like, okay, we get to come up with a design that works. And I think from a franchise perspective, as Philip mentioned on the new VE, we've got fresh air. We've got a giant DOAS unit sitting on top of the roof that helps.
Right. I'm nodding my head like I totally know what that means.
A giant air conditioner.
Right. I figured, yeah.
And it helps with the smells in the room. So that was
right, because you have to deal with mildew and that sort of thing down here. Cooking, right.
So you can imagine, I mean, all this history, we go into our hotels and you can imagine the odors from the different rooms. And part of the objective was to design a room that managed those odors. So we involved that air conditioning unit as well as vents in the bathroom to help bring in fresh air. We have fresh air P-tax. That help work with that as well as meeting the new fresh air code.
Right. And I love that you have P-tax. So my natural assumption was to go over to the unit to adjust the temperature, but then I realized that you have the temperature controls in the thermostats in the room, which number one is a nice upscale touch for a brand that's in this particular segment. I think it definitely feels richer for the guest experience, and I bet you're able to save on those heating and cooling costs as well.
Yes, and I'll let Philip comment on it.
Yep.
If you notice, they are the Verdant thermostats.
Yep.
From a technology side. Yeah, I so this is a system. Whether the franchisees choose to invest in this or not, really up to them. But it does give them an option. They can control every room in this hotel from their laptop.
Oh, dang! I love that.
They can go in and see the usage from the guest, reset temperatures on a daily average basis, and get that efficiency from a
right. And these are the things that are so important. I know my hotelier friends out there know this, because if you could just shave a little bit here and there and here and there, those pennies add up to a whole lot of dollars at the end of the year that really could make a big difference to your bottom line. So, Philip, did you want to comment on that?
In addition to that, is you can tell if something goes wrong.
Right.
Because you're going to get an alert, you're going to be able to see it, and you're going to be able to address it before you get a complaint from a guest.
Right.
Avoid a bad experience.
Right. Yeah. And that's really essential, especially these guests that are going to be here for 30 days. I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody, but I do think the human psyche has a tendency that once you're somewhere for more than a few days, you start to feel like you own the place, right? And you want them to feel like they own the place, right? So before we wrap up, Jim, where do you see this going? What do you want to tell the development community?
We'd like to double the size of ESA. We're
Yep.
about 630 hotels right now, and we believe there's another 600 markets we can be in.
Mm-hmm.
And we put our own money into this. We've got probably over $300 million of capital committed to this building program. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it is, and it's a great commitment on behalf of our of my fellow C-suite members, but also the board, and on their behalf to really allow us to get out here and do this and build these. And really the idea was to put them in areas where we already existed and continue to build out our operational density.
Right.
Put them in parts of the country that are very active, where people can come out and touch and feel them and try to replicate these. And we've got, I almost never correct Amy because I know better, but we do have 2 under construction.
Okay.
Second one under construction. And it's very far away. It's Ukiah, California. So it's
right.
It's pretty far up in Northern California. So we've got 2 under construction, but we do have a bunch more ready to break ground. And she's working with these owners and our franchise team, Steve Miller, to make sure that they can replicate this. And we really do hope that they take advantage of a lot of the forward thinking that Paul has done here.
Right.
What he's done in some of these locations, the fresh air thing can't be really overestimated, because in a lot of jurisdictions, this is the new rule. And there's a lot of people who are building new who are not building to really what the about to be code or kind of current code is. They're getting fathered in, and it does cost a little more.
Oh yeah, but you have to deliver that for number one, because the customers like it. But if you're thinking about your long-term real estate investment play, then you need that property to have as much operational efficiencies and up to code as possible.
Exactly. Like the Verdant, as Paul mentioned, the Verdant that knows when you're out of the room,
right?
And it can temper down, and you can, over time that will pay for itself. And we've got low flow restrictors on the toilets, so it's super efficient on the flushing, but it doesn't use nearly as much water. And we try to be, again, because we're such a large property owner, we still own 550 hotels. And with that kind of capital commitment, the billions of dollars invested in the real estate, every gallon of water counts. On a nightly basis, we're serving 70,000 guests. Woo. And that's the size of a small city. And so, that's probably more than 70,000 flushes.
Right. Yeah, that is true. All right. So any final words from you guys? Anything you want to add over here?
No. Yep.
No? All right. They're all satisfied. So, Jim, being that you are the one who's willing to talk right now, how about a good shameless plug for you guys? You deserved it. You put up through it with me for 25 minutes. You did this LinkedIn Live thing.
Thank you. We'd love for you to find more about the property at newesa.com. That's newesa.com. We're absolutely open for business franchising and ready to do a lot more of these and show you how fun and efficient this building can be, and how you can have no more than 15 employees and about 9 full time. So it's a great business model and a great time to still be building. I believe, as you know, Glenn, people thought by now that new construction cycle would be tapering off, but it's cheaper than it's really almost ever been. And so even the people who planned on slowing down are going back and saying, we're not going to stop building. Builders build when you've got money.
Right. Yeah. I absolutely love that. I want to thank all of you for listening today. I've had a great time. And if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, be sure to text the word hotel to 66866. You'll get our Sunday newsletter with all of our shows, not just No Vacancy, but Checking In with Anthony and Glenn, which of course I do with Anthony Melchiori. You know him from TV's Hotel Impossible there. Also the Hotel Design Show, the Hotel Tech Show, and of course the Business of Hotels podcast. So for everybody over here, I want to thank you guys again for participating in this, and I'll be back next week. That is, unless I decide to quit this job and go open myself an extended stay in America. See you next time, guys.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.